Hey, wait. What does this say here, this thing here?
Oh, that's the usual clause. That's in every contract. That just says, if any of the parties participating in this contract are shown not to be in their right mind, the entire agreement is automatically nullified.
Well, I don't know.
It's all right. That's in every contract. That's what they call a sanity clause.
You can't fool me. There ain't no sanity clause.
What's up, posers? Welcome to Punk Lotto Pod. I'm your co-host, Justin Hensley.
I'm your other co-host, Dylan Hensley.
I guess I could have said, welcome, po-ho-hosers. This is our Christmas episode of 2024. I hope you're all simply having a wonderful Christmas time. I feel the least Christmassy I have felt in years. I don't know about you. Does it feel like Christmas is literally 2 weeks away?
No. It feels like it's coming too fast.
Is it because Thanksgiving was so late this year? Thanksgiving was like the 28th this year.
Yeah, Thanksgiving was late, but I did immediately decorate for Christmas. So I feel like it should have felt more Christmassy by now. I've watched like 3 Christmas movies. We're doing the stuff. We're doing the Christmas stuff. But yeah, no, it doesn't feel particularly Christmassy.
Yeah, I feel like Charlie Brown at the beginning of the Christmas Peanut special. You know, he talks about how he doesn't feel very Christmassy and in the spirit. So I guess that means I have to go get the saddest Christmas tree I could find.
Well, you got to take over a children-run Christmas pageant.
Yeah. I don't know. It does not feel like Christmas. Despite it being very cold where I am too. Like, it's been cold as shit this last couple weeks here.
Yeah, it's been cold here too.
Maybe it's the impending doom of 2025 that I'm feeling, and I'm just like, oh, it's gonna be horrible. I don't feel like doing anything. But you think you just want to get one last good one in before,
Have you tried kicking a football and then having it yanked away at the last minute so that you go flying into the air?
Yeah. I mean, that's how I felt all year, is just missing a football that I'm trying to kick. I even watch TV for a living, so I see all the Christmas commercials all day long, and I don't know, they're not clocking. They're not registering. I felt Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving felt appropriate when it happened. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll get there in the week before Christmas, but so far, not particularly Christmassy right now. If you want to, head over to patreon.com/punklautopod and make it feel like Christmas for us. Give us some money. Isn't that how that Kink song goes?
Yeah. Father Christmas, give us some money.
Yeah. And join up at our Patreon. For $1, you get access to all of our weekly bonus audio, where last week we did a chart dive on the year 2020 to correspond with an idea that we've played around with for a couple years in a row now, where the theory is that you shouldn't give out awards for movies until it's been at least 4 years, where things can actually have time to gestate and people to think about what actually was good and see what stood the test of time. So we decided to do that for music as well. And what did we discover about 2020's music?
2020, I think our main takeaways were, has not had a lasting impact culturally. And at least our ratings, our selections for best records have held up. So
yeah, I think with our age too, our tastes aren't going to change drastically. You know, we're both in our 30s, and it actually dawned on me the other day, like, how old you really are. I was like, holy shit, he's that old.
Ancient man.
How old am I then? Because I didn't feel that old.
Wait a minute.
I'm 2 years shy of 40. That feels weird as shit to me. Yeah, we were already in our 30s. Well, were you yet? You just hit it, right?
Well, yeah, I turned 30 in 2020.
Yeah, so
in the middle of pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was great. It was a great time to turn 30. I think I cried on the couch on my birthday. I just laid on the couch and cried.
I also think your birthday
like
was
15
near
minutes.
George Floyd, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was protesting going on.
Yeah.
Or maybe soon after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it. It just being like,
this is how I turned 30.
I can't really do anything. I go to work and it's horrible and I'm so bored. And now I'm 30 fucking years old. Great.
I just
can't go out to eat for my birthday. Gotta order takeout.
We did that for like almost a year of that kind of stuff too. Yeah, it really did dawn on me. I remember there's a distinct memory I have of just sitting on the couch and just being like, this is all we can do. We can't do anything. Yeah. 2020 was bad. And the next one will be worse. Anyway, see, don't feel very Christmassy. But yeah, patreon.com. you look at, we can talk about 2020 albums.
Yeah. Let's start this episode off with the most down notes we can possibly come up with. I just don't feel the Christmas spirit. And hey, remember COVID?
It's still here too. Remember that?
It's back in POG form.
Yeah. Oh, but yes, you can also sign up at our $5 tier, which is the producer/listening club tier, where you could join in on a once a month video chat with the fellow $5 patrons, and we talk about a particular album. We just did the Swingin' Utters, a juvenile project of the working class, and we had a really good time doing it. And we were saying we're probably going to take off the rest of this month and then choose something in January that maybe a new record. So it will be TBD what record we talk about in January, but we want to kind of do something from 2025. So we'll see what comes out in January. Maybe nothing will come out and we'll just wind up choosing something else, but stay tuned for that. Also, you get your name said on the show as a producer. So let's shout those producers out now. So we want to say thank you so much to Dave Brown, host of the podcast One Band Five Songs, as well as the writer of the blog Oklahoma Lefty. And Dave actually just posted his top 30 albums of 2024. So you should definitely check that list out. Thank you to Jason W., writer of the blog Songs About Chocolate and Girls. I believe he's still in the letter D. And I think a lot of the bands he was covering were German bands that start with the word D. So in it, he said something along the lines of, I should have thought about it and just put it, D is the in German. So just skip the D and just use the second word in the name. But some fun stuff there. And thank you to Steve Long, host of the podcast Rebel Rock Radio. And I believe he just published his best albums of 2024 list on his Substack. So I believe that is called the Otter Limits. So thank you all to our producers. And if you want to sign up, join the $5 tier. Or you could choose the $10 tier where you choose the album we devote an entire episode to, which we got one of those coming. We'll do it in the new year, but I'm very excited to talk about it. So yeah, let's get into it. This is our Christmas episode, a tradition that we started. Is this the 4th year we've done it now? So the first episode we did Bad Religion's Christmas album. We followed that up with the Joey Ramone Christmas EP. And then we did the Punk Goes Christmas compilation. So yeah, this is our 4th year of doing Christmas albums.
Yeah. And
has the Christmas music been a part of your rotation this year so far?
No, not really. Which is probably contributing to the lack of Christmas spirit. I have not listened to my Bumbles Bounce playlist. Probably should do that soon. See if that.
Oh, I got to point this out. So part of my job is that I'm required to roll live breaks for the Today Show, which is the NBC morning show. It's a terrible show, and it's 4 hours long every single day. I hate it so much. But they did an episode last week, I believe, where they were talking about how Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is coming back to NBC for like the first time in like 50 years or whatever, or whenever they made that originally. It was originally an NBC production, or it aired on NBC before it aired anywhere else, but then they lost the rights to it. And so then it wound up being aired on like CBS for like 25 years or something like that, or even on cable stations. And so they got it back to NBC this year for like the first time in forever. And they did this whole little thing where they were doing like trivia for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And Hoda Kotb is an idiot. She's one of the hosts. She does Hoda and Jenna. She used to be like Kathy Lee and Hoda. Al Roker goes, they asked like, who's your favorite character? And then Carson Daly's like, Rudolph the Red-Nosed. Rudolph, he's the main guy. So Carson's boring as shit. Also, if you've never watched the Today Show with Carson on it, he is the least interested in being on that show. It's just so funny that he's there and just like playing on his phone the whole time.
That guy has continuously fallen into a career.
Yeah.
Has never earned it.
No. He did Last Call for like 20 years and nobody watched it the last 10. Yeah. And then he's like one of the hosts on The Voice. So he's got the Ryan Seacrest job on The Voice. And again, low energy man. So odd. Anyway, he's like, yeah, Rudolph. And then I think, I'm trying to think. Oh, Hoda and Savannah both said the dentist is how they said it. And then Al goes, Yukon Cornelius. And Hoda's like, who? It's like, Hoda, you didn't want to brush up on the special you're here to promote? Like, also, how do you not know who Yukon Cornelius is?
Have you watched not 5 minutes of it?
Like in 1972,
she watched she watched the dentist song. I was like, yeah, that's
what this is about, right? Favorite. It's about going to dentist school, right? Yeah, I don't know. I just had to get on that. I was just shocked at like she's old enough to know who they are. That's the other thing, She like turned 60 this year. Like she should know because Al Roker's like 70. He's like, I watch it every single year. Like that's how I know all the characters. Also, I haven't seen it in years and I still know every single character in that thing. Nobody said the Bumble, but yeah. So that's how I got there.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what we were saying. Oh, the Christmas music. Yeah. No, I have not listened to any of my Christmas music. Though, personally, I tend to not listen to Christmas music until like the week of in general. Mainly because I don't like most Christmas music. At least the like standards that get played every single year that are just, overdone. But I do have my playlist. I believe, what is my, I think it's just called like Mega Xmas playlist or something like that. It's got like thousands of songs on it, and I put it on shuffle and then it's a lot of like alternate takes and some albums of, I don't know, different stuff, a lot of different stuff. I try to avoid like the most popular, stuff just because I've heard it so many times. But oddly, I do look forward to doing this every year because I guess it's because they're not the type of records that get discussed a lot when you talk about Christmas music. I guess people don't really talk about albums as much either. They talk about songs, but yeah, this is probably one of my favorite Christmas albums because it barely feels like a Christmas album, but we'll get into that later. So before we get into the album, I thought we would look at the other Christmas albums that were released in the year 1999, which is the year that our album came out in. And of course, we go to rateyourmusic.com and put in the genre Christmas music. And also I put in the descriptor Christmas. And the number one entry is a great Christmas album. It is called Christmas by Low.
It is? For 1999?
It is. What do you got?
I have Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classics by South Park.
Did you sort by... Oh, did I not sort by popularity?
You did it by top rating, I'm guessing.
Let's see. Let me double check. No, mine's by popularity. Oh, I also put in EPs. I put in albums, EPs, compilations, unauthorized, and additional releases. So that's why. Because this Christmas album by Low is considered an EP, even though it's 8 tracks and 29.45 minutes. So it's an album. You have to press it on LP. I don't know why. They're being very hard sticklers for what an album length is. But yeah, that's the number one on here. And I love this album.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's definitely one that's worth listening every year.
I always do. That is one that I do listen to, and our album today. But yeah, I always listen to this record. This is like Christmas Eve album though. Like I put this on as we're going to Christmas Eve stuff, so I always listen to this. Then, excellent though. Original song, Just Like Christmas. Some other songs that just don't feel like especially Christmassy. Like Long Way Around the Sea, or If You Were Born Today. But there's some traditionals on here. Little Drummer Boy, Blue Christmas, Silent Night. Yeah, I love this record. Number 2 for me is another EP. It's a Coil Christmas album, Winter Solstice North. So I don't know if you're into Coil.
There's a song on there called Christmas is Now Drawing Near. So I was wondering, is this really Christmassy? But there's one song on there. So
Yeah. And now we're at Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classics. Yeah. Oh, God. How is this number 1? What?
And it has a good rating, too. It has a 3.25.
Yeah, that should be like a 1 point something or a 2 point something. Not, ugh.
Rate Your Music users still enjoy Mr. Garrison, the 3rd grade teacher, singing Merry fucking Christmas.
The only one that I've actually heard from this thing is Cartman doing Oh Holy Night. That's the only one I've heard. I don't think I've heard anything else from here.
Yeah. We got Adolf Hitler doing O Tannenbaum. It's great.
Shit.
It's great.
Chef doing what?
It's so funny.
What the hell child is this?
It is so funny.
So funny.
Funny show.
And it's still on the air. God.
Still going.
Yeah, I think it's like on Paramount Plus only now or something like that. But what else we got here?
I Want to Be Santa Claus by Ringo Starr. Fab.
Have you heard it?
No. Kind of want to, though. It's probably not very good.
Walking in a winter wonderland. Just, I can't imagine him doing anything with it. And he's not like famous for being like a great singer either. Jewel has Joy, a holiday collection. Think she yodels on here? Probably not.
Is she like contractually obligated to yodel on everything?
I don't know. Does she? I don't know how much yodeling comes into her music anymore.
I don't know. This has a surprisingly low rating. I would think that Jewel would just do like a contemporary folk album of Christmas carols, and it would be fine. If you're into that kind of thing, you're gonna go give this a pretty good rating. But it has like a 2 point something.
Yeah, like I can't imagine a Jewel fan really having any problems with this thing. You think maybe it sounds bad? Maybe it sounds real shoddy and just like clearly a rush job to get out for Christmas that year. I don't know. 99. Where's Jewel in her career in 99? She had done Pieces of You in 95. She did Spirit in 98. I don't know that record, but I think it's still in the same style. So she hadn't even gone pop yet. That's the 2001 record, right? This Way. Yeah, she goes pop on that one. So she hadn't even pivoted yet. So that's weird. And that record's higher rated than this one. Yeah. Maybe just felt cold and just like, yeah, just cash grabby.
Al Di Meola, Winter Nights. You want some nueve, flamenco nueva? Bleh, oh my God. This is why Spanish pronunciation has gotten so much harder for me. Flamenco nuevo.
And you live in California.
I know.
You hear it all the time, don't you?
And like, there's words that I know that I can't say because I'm just like, there's too many consonants next to each other. And I can't make my mouth and lips coordinate to do it. I mean, I can barely speak English anymore, so I think I just am getting worse at talking in general. We got some Argentine mass.
Yeah, that's weird. Misa Criolla by Mercedes Sosa. It is mass? Is that Catholic mass? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
So is this like that's got to be not fun to listen to. Latin American classical music, Argentine music, Zamba, and indigenous Andean music. It could be cool.
Yeah, they have like, looks like there's a Christmas mass on here. There's a Kyrie, a Gloria, a Credo, a Sanctus, Agnus Dei. Yeah. And then there's other Andean Christmas music. I don't know.
It's either boring as shit or awesome. Like, I don't feel like there's a middle ground on it either.
Jimi Hendrix put out a Christmas EP.
When did he do this?
Right before he died.
That's the last thing he did. It took them 30 years to release it.
It's probably like he was Little Drummer Boy, Silent Night, Auld Lang Syne medley, and then there's Three Little Bears, whatever that is.
Not even a Christmas song.
And then there's an extended version of Little Drummer Boy, Silent Night, Auld Lang Syne. Why is there a short version?
Weird.
Kenny G, Faith, the holiday album.
Yep. Rocking that clarinet. I'm not going to attempt to say any of those words. What is this, Slavic? Polish. It's a Polish Christmas album here.
Yeah.
I can't say the artist name. I can't say the name of the album. I'm sure it's great.
Neoclassical? I don't know.
There's something called The Final Solstice with like blood splatters across the cover. What is this? Neo-folk Christmas music, ethereal wave, dream pop, ambient spoken word.
It is a compilation of artists that I don't know. Sorrow,
Yeah.
Rosamundi, Velocity Star, and Resonance.
Sorrow's a neo-folk ethereal wave artist from England, or band rather, two-piece.
It was put out by Pisky Disky.
Yeah, I don't know what any of that is.
Reba.
Hell yeah, it's Reba. Secret of Giving, a Christmas collection. This is before she relaunched herself as a sitcom actress. A couple years before Reba, the sitcom. And I don't know if you've seen, she has a new show.
Yeah, it's just Reba again.
It's just Reba again, because she even has Barbara Jean, or whatever her name was, from Reba on it with her. And they did an episode with the guy who the dumb guy that was married to her daughter on the show too was in it. So it's like this show's only been out for like a month. You're already dipping into the Reba reunion like immediately. I guess they're like, this show's getting canceled after one season, so we got to do all of them now while we can. Here is one that I like. Is Happy Christmas Volume 2 from Tooth and Nail Records, and it's not my favorite of the Tooth and Nail Happy Christmas comps. They do diminish in returns every time there's a new one. Though I'd say the first three are probably the best, the most solid. What do we have on here? We have MXPX doing Christmas Day, Sixpence None the Richer doing You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, Starflyer 59 doing Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, the Deluxe Tone Rockets doing Santa Claus is Back in Town. Of course they would. Oh, this is the one with the Lost Dogs doing the Chipmunk song where they all pitch their voices up to do the Chipmunk voice, right? No, they don't. They do it normal. They have a robot voice. They do like a whole bit on that one. It's a weird one. Bunch of like old Christian rockers doing their alt country thing. And I don't know. Is that Joy Electric Lollipop Parade any good? Yeah,
I don't know. I don't remember it.
I don't remember this one very well. Billboard's Greatest Christmas Hits 1935 to 1954. So that's a basic ass list. Natalie Cole with the London Symphony Orchestra doing The Magic of Christmas. English Village Carols. I don't have a track list on that, unfortunately.
It's Kindercore Christmas 2.
What is that?
Compilations put out by Kindercore Records. It has Kings of Convenience, Of Montreal is on here. Junior Varsity. Not very many bands that I know.
Yeah, like Ladybug Transistor Family. Yeah, the Essex Green. Like some names I've heard, but like nobody I'm really familiar with, like Chow Bella. Yeah. So it's kind of just this label's version. It's Christmas music, twee pop, and slacker rock. So I don't know. I don't know if any of it's any good. It's got 3.62. That's a pretty good rating, though.
Is that right? There's a Plain White Tees Christmas EP.
Hey, I saw
Is that the first thing they did?
Let's see. What's the earliest Plain White Tees?
No way. That's the first thing that they ever put out. No, there's a 98 promo demo. And then they did this Christmas EP, and then nothing until like 2001.
What? They did a demo. Do they appear on any comps yet?
Nope.
No. Wow. Weird.
Well, okay, they show up in 2000, they show up on a comp.
That's after this.
But
So
that's
this
after this, yeah.
This is probably like a tape. They're like no, it was like a burnt. If you go to the actual image, it's like it was like clip art. It must have been like a burnt CD that they sold at their shows. There's only one rating for it too. So exactly one person has heard this.
And yeah, I was going to say, it's 4 songs. Can you hear it anywhere?
I don't know. I feel like they would be big enough that you should be able to hear it on YouTube or something like that. If enough people have it.
You might be able to soul seek it.
Yeah, but even then, I still feel like you would have more than just this. Let's see, more ratings. Yeah, you don't know. Nothing comes up when you search for it. So weird. Was there anything else?
Wait,
a lot of
I found it on Bandcamp.
What?
DuPage County Hardcore.
That's the Bandcamp?
Bandcamp.
Whoa, it's like an archive.
It's an archive of Chicago area releases.
I love that those kind of accounts exist, because there's one for North Carolina. It's like just a North Carolina, like obscure old hardcore stuff. And there's one for Memphis bands. And that's how I found like that band Raid, their demo that I covered on the Metalcore Chronicles. So yeah, I love that those kind of accounts exist. Strange. There's like a K-pop Christmas in SM Town and like an acapella thing. So it falls off immediately as far as good. There's one good one, too, if you count our one today. So not a lot that year. All right, so let's intro the record. So we decided to choose a Christmas album, and we selected Winter Wonderland by MU330. And some stats on the band. They are from St. Louis, Missouri. They formed in 1988. This was released December 6th, 1999 on Asian Man Records. And it was released on CD only that year. And then on cassette in the year 2020. And then on vinyl in 2023. And the person on this record is Chris Diebold on bass, Ted Moll on drums, Dan Pothast on guitar and vocals, Jerry Lundquist on trombone, and Robert Bell on trombone as well. We have some additional musicians in here as well. We have Chaz Bitchy Meany from the Blue Meanies on organ. And we have Robert Barry playing organ on the song Jerry's Down Home Christmas. We have some guest vocals on here by Maya Osaki of the Chinkies and the Bruce Lee Band, as well as Juju briefly. And we have Mike Park of Asian Man Records himself doing Christmas rapping on this album. And it was recorded by Matt Allison and Robert Barry at Atlas Sound and Soundtech Studios across 2 different sessions. And we'll get into more later. But we've never covered an MU330 record on the show, right?
Right. I was thinking about that. I was like, is this the first time we've actually done MU330? So I guess next August we got to prioritize an MU330 record.
Yeah, they were on the list, I think, one year where we left a poll open, and some people voted for it, but it just didn't win. So, yeah, I think it's a record we need to rectify that and actually do an MU330 album during August for sure. I did think it's funny that the first time we're going to devote an episode to them is the Christmas album that they did, which is probably like one of the least well-known things they did, right? Out of curiosity, let's see how many
has probably the most limited appeal.
Yeah. Their live record from 2001 is their least rated on Rate Your Music, excluding, singles and comps. But yeah, as far as like studio albums, it is their lowest. Their least rated. And it's actually their low. Well, no, it's not their lowest rated album. Their lowest rated album is Press, their very first record. And this one has a 3.08. And don't want to tip the bid, but that seems a little low. So yeah, this is the first time we're doing MU330. We have talked about them. We definitely have talked about them in charts. I feel like we probably did them on our 100 and 100 and an episode we refer to 200 episodes later constantly. And you may have talked about them as like a maybe choice. Like you maybe had them pulled. I think you wanted to do like a Chumps on Parade at one point. I feel like we discussed Chumps on Parade.
Maybe on a starting 5. We've definitely talked about them at different times on the show, but never a full episode.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just funny to me that we're doing the Christmas record as our first one. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on MU330?
I think they're great. I very much enjoy them. I think they're one of the best third wave ska bands, which is why I'm so surprised that we haven't really talked about them in more depth. I feel like we got into them in high school, just kind of branching off into ska and exploring that genre. And really at a time period when ska was not very popular. So I think it was heavily carried by us having listened to a bunch of Christian ska bands.
Yeah.
And then getting more into punk and being like, oh, well, let's listen to other ska bands. Because there wasn't very much ska happening when we got into ska that we were listening to. Because we didn't even really care for the ones that were active at the time.
Yeah, because at the time when we really got into ska. So like, okay, as an early teenager, I got into Five Iron and the Supertones and stuff like that. So it was all the Christian ska stuff. But by the time I was like getting into the non-Christian ska, you're right. There wasn't a ton of the bands that I particularly enjoyed. It was like still Less Than Jake, Real Big Fish. Who else? The Boss Tones are still active, but they were well past their prime at that stage. Big D and the Kids Table were like one of the better ones. They felt like even though they're a third wave band, they hit later. Like their crest feels like it was more into the 2000s.
I feel like we got into, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what really prompted us to get more into ska was seeing This Is England. So we would have gotten into ska through like Toots and like two-tone bands.
I don't think that's right. I feel like
maybe it just kind of happened close together.
Yeah, I feel like it would have probably been in the 2000s that I was getting into the more like the Asian man ska bands. Yeah. I think This Is England probably just inspired us to get into stuff like Toots and, that kind of stuff. But I can't, I really was trying to rack my brain and figure out where I really got an MU330. And the only thing I could think of is I just got into them through like a random music blog.
Yeah.
Sharing like mega upload and rapid share, files. I feel like I had downloaded Press. I might have downloaded like their first like 3 or 4 albums. I think I had Press, Chumps on Parade, and Crab Rangoon. I downloaded them all around the same time, and I was like working through their discography chronologically, essentially, which I don't really recommend. That I don't think that's the best route to get into MU330. But
I don't know. I don't think it's a bad idea. Just know that it gets better after the first record.
Yeah.
But I think if you can listen to the first record and not have expectations of it based on the rest of their discography, you'll probably enjoy it more.
Yeah. And then I probably got into Ultra Panic and the self-titled a little later. Like I think I was like stuck on the first 3, and those are the ones I kind of listened to the most for a long, long time. And then I think I found like a vinyl copy of the self-titled. That might have been the first time I even listened to that record. And then I think I had Ultra Panic burnt on a CD at one point too, to the point where I thought maybe it had come out before the self-titled, but it didn't. So yeah, just getting into them. And I think as I got older, I got more into them over time. Like I feel like I appreciated them more and more as time went on. And I probably don't put them on as frequently as I probably should, but I know the record super duper well. So yeah, I spent a lot of time listening to MU330. Never saw them live. They still play shows randomly. They're not a super active band, but they do shows. I think they did one like last year around this time. And I think they're one of those bands too that'll be like, we went and played Japan. Like they got paid to go play a festival or something. But we've seen Dan Pothast a couple times solo.
You have. I've seen him once.
Just the once?
I saw him at Fest. That was the only time I've seen him.
I've seen him at Fest a few times. And I saw his band The Stitch Up play with Streetlight Manifesto in Charlotte once. And then a snowstorm happened on our way home. And this is pre-GPS, or at least I didn't have one. And I just wound up driving in circles on 485 with our buddy Skinner. And we were just like, how do we get home? Neither one of us could figure out how to get home. It was very late and it was snowing. And we're just like, I don't know where we are and how to get home from here. I used to get lost going to Tremont almost every single time I went. We also dodged a washing machine in the middle of Independence Boulevard on that one. That was a fun one. But yeah. Yeah, that's experience with MU330.
My money's been spent on an empty apartment. The wind seeps through the cracks, it crawls down the walls and creeps up my back. Ever since you in September decided you do better than cracks, I want you back.
Let's do a little bit of the backstory. So, the band initially met in their high school music class, and the class's name was MU330, Music 330. So they decided to name their band after that. They described their sound as psycho ska, which, do we know what that means? It's just faster, right?
Ska, but crazy. Yeah, I don't really know entirely what they intended by that. Because you would think it would be like psychobilly, but there's not a psychobilly influence.
No, not at all. No, it's just like a faster paced, punkier kind of ska. And you might be thinking like Operation Ivy. It's like, no, not really like that either. I don't know. It's big. It's loud. I don't know. It is not a very defined thing. But, you know, the bands just make up their own genre names. That's, you know, they don't really mean anything. They released their debut album Press in 1994, followed by Chumps on Parade in 1996, and Crab Rangoon in 1997. Dan Podhast, Ted Mole, Chris Diebold, and Robert Bell have been in the band since it began. So they are the only members to have been there from inception to today. Jerry Lundquist played in Skank and Pickle prior to joining in MU330, but he's also been in the band for like 20 years, probably 30 at this point. And there were actually multiple vocalists prior to this record. The first two albums have different lead vocalists, but Dan would sing some songs on those records. And it wasn't until Crab Rangoon where he took over lead vocals for the entire album. But he was the main songwriter in the band prior to that. So he was writing the lyrics and the music on those first two records. My guess is he couldn't play and sing at the same time. And that's why he wasn't the lead singer. Or maybe he just didn't have faith in his own abilities as a singer. Because like he's writing everything for the other guys. They had two different lead vocalists. And yeah, it is funny. He's writing all the words, but only singing like one or two songs on each record. So this version of the band is the current version of the band. And they are a 2-trombone ska band. Prior to this, they had sax players and trumpet players, and the very first record, they did have 2 trombone players, but they also had a sax player as well. But yes, once Jerry joins the band, they're a 2-trombone band, and that's it as far as horns. There's no other horns in the band, which I think is very funny. And in this same year as this Christmas album, they released their self-titled record, the MU330 album. So, what's your history with this particular Christmas album?
I've heard it before. I have probably had songs from it on my Christmas playlist for a long time, but it's not one that I like have consistently made a point of going and listening to the specific record. I guess I've never really consistently done that with Christmas records, other than like the ones that I own on vinyl, which are mostly like, you know, the Charlie Brown Christmas and like some Johnny Cash Christmas record, and like, I don't know, it's just whatever random stuff you find, the Elvis Christmas record, the stuff that you find at thrift stores, a couple other kind of classic country Christmas records. Those are the ones that I like listen to, and it's mostly just I'm at home and we put on Christmas records like occasionally. Like when we're decorating for Christmas, we'll play some Christmas records, or when we're having our Christmas dinner or whatever, we'll listen to Christmas records. So I've most of my Christmas music listening is just kind of shuffling my playlists, and I don't really go out of the way to listen to Christmas records. So I don't know this record super well, other than I know I've heard it, and there's certain songs that I know pretty well from it.
Yeah, this is one that I have started to listen to a little more regularly over the last couple years. It wasn't one that was in my rotation for, actually, I think for a really long time. I'd never even listened to it. It was an album that I was like, oh, a Christmas album, I'm not listening to that. Usually because it was outside of Christmas time when I'm listening to MU330. And so like there was like a couple years ago where I was like, oh yeah, MU330 have a Christmas album. I wonder if it's any good. And I listened to it and I was like, it's very good. So I should I should make this a little bit more regular rotation. So I think ever since then I've put it on every year at least once. Because like I said, I tend to not listen to Christmas music until like the week of Christmas. And I'm like, well, I got to cram in the ones I want to hear first before I listen to the other stuff. And this isn't the only like Christmas themed music that they have. They have a song called like Xmas Card that is just like on a record, isn't it? Yeah, it's on Crab Rangoon. Which you'd think they would just be like, well, let's double dip and stick this Christmas song in here. But they didn't. They left it off. And I feel like they maybe even have another song on a compilation somewhere that's a Christmas theme song too. So I don't know. They I think they like Christmas. So this record was recorded, like I said earlier, in 2 different sessions by different engineers. So half the album was recorded with Matt Allison, and Matt Allison is known for, he's a Chicago producer and engineer. And up to this point, he had done albums by the Broadways, the Boll Weevils, and Alkaline Trio, amongst others. And the other producer is a California-based producer named Robert Berry, and he recorded a lot of Asian Man Records bands at the time. He recorded the Tuesday album, Slow Gherkin, some Skank and Pickle, and Chinkies prior to this record. He also produced the MU330 self-titled release this same year. And there is a breakdown of who records what, and we can get into that more when we're talking about the actual tracks on here. But what did you think of it, revisiting it?
I really enjoyed it. I don't know. I guess I had a similar like, a Christmas record,
Yeah.
Kind of impression of it. But I think in like I guess in recent years I've realized it's like, well, I do like Christmas music. I do listen to Christmas music every year. I will say that a lot of Christian punk I'd say it's pretty hit or miss when punks do Christmas music. Did I say Christian punk? I meant Christmas punk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm a Christmasist. Yeah, when punks do a Christmas song, and it's like, it's for comps, and then like comps are always really uneven listens anyway, because it's just like, I like half of these bands. So you're not going to care about the band that you don't like doing a Christmas song just because it's a Christmas song. Which that's the thing with Christmas songs. It's like any Christmas song you want to hear, you can find somebody you like doing it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. No one's like, oh, I'm such a fan of Silent Night, I need to hear every version of it. Why am I going to listen to this song by somebody I don't like when there's like 10 versions of it that I could listen to and enjoy more? So I feel like it's one of those weird things. Like I think about the stuff that we've done on the show in the past, where the Christmas records that we've done, which was Joey Ramone, Bad Religion, and what was the other thing?
The Punk Goes Christmas comp.
The Punk Goes Christmas comp. So the Punk Goes Christmas comp's obviously terrible. The Bad Religion one was like, okay.
Yeah, it's a Bad Religion album.
Yeah.
But they're just doing, it's standards, isn't it? It's all like standards on that record. I can't think of him writing like original Christmas lyrics in any way.
So I don't know. It feels like, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. It feels like no one really takes it seriously. And I mean, I guess you could say that no one has ever taken a Christmas record seriously. But I don't know. I guess if you're doing the cynical cash grab, phoned in easy Christmas record, that kind of record lends itself more to like pop and country. I feel like it lends itself so much more to music that has always been made in like a factory style production of just like, because like I'll listen to classic country records and they're like all phoned in. Like it's like, oh shit, we got to have a Christmas record out in November. All right. But the thing is, you have like world-class talent who would just like walk into the studio and record LPs in a day. So it's easy to just like walk in and you have like session musicians that are like locked and loaded and ready to go. And you're like, bam, all right, there's our Christmas record. I'm done. I'm gonna go golf, whatever. Like Or, pop music is, it's like the producers are sitting in the studio doing all of the work for however long, and then the singer comes in and does it and whatever. Rock Christmas music, not as successful.
I was gonna say like jazz and classical probably take it as seriously too. They might actually take it the most seriously. Now that I think about it, but even then, it's usually pretty standard type stuff.
Yeah. It's like the jazz Christmas records are always kind of disappointing. It's like, oh yeah, this should be cool. We got some like hot playing. It's like, oh no, right? It's just they're gonna do the melody, and like they're not gonna use their good solo ideas on the Christmas songs.
Yeah.
Gonna throw that away.
Yeah,
Unless you're
right.
Coltrane doing fucking a few of my favorite things, and that wasn't considered Christmas music when that came out anyway. I don't know. Rock can be really hit or miss. I mean, that being said, I have lots of Christmas rock covers, but it's always one-off stuff. It's always compilation songs. It's Tom Petty doing a Christmas song for a compilation or something like that. It's always just like you're lucky you get a good one, and those are the ones that you keep. And there's a lot of stuff that you just kind of forget exists. But as far as Christmas albums,
Yeah. Like I was trying to think when you were talking about rock specific like Christmas albums, I was like, what do I have on my playlist? And I've got The Ventures, which in and of itself is like surf Christmas music. So it's kind of funny to begin with the Reverend Horton Heat Christmas album.
very gimmicky.
Yeah. Who else we got? Like I'm trying to think. There's country stuff, lots of Johnny Cash ones. Yeah, there's like an MXPX EP. There's They Might Be Giants EP. The Toasters did one. If you're gonna keep it ska, they have a Christmas album. Yeah, there's a Nick Lowe one. I don't know if it's any good. I have it on my list, but I don't know if I. Cyndi Lauper. Yeah, that's more of a pop thing. Yeah. So yeah, rock wise, not a ton. At least not ones that I have listened to. There's like the Beach Boys one. Is that one?
Yeah, I mean that's a good one. That's generally well regarded Christmas album.
Yeah, and there's very few just like straight up punk Christmas albums too. Just because it feels too cynical for punks to be doing like whole Christmas records. There wasn't like the Vandals one like considered like one of the most famous like punk Christmas albums. Yeah, so listening to this, there's a lot more effort going into this record than your average Christmas punk record. Like Bad Religion did an entire album of standards. They're just Christmas carols, which is ironic from the Atheist Band. This record only has 3 traditionals. Is that right?
I heard the bells on Christmas.
Yeah.
Angels we have heard on high.
Mm-hmm. And Jerry's Down Home Christmas, which is like part story song and then Oh Holy Night at the end of it.
Yeah. And Jerry's Down Home Christmas song, I'm pretty sure is just a Johnny Cash spoken Christmas story.
I was curious what it was because I'm like, well, this is a song about like sharecroppers, having like a poor Christmas. So I wasn't sure what the original Down Home Christmas was. So I'm gonna see if I can. There's an Oak Ridge Boys version
because he mentions Dias, Arkansas. It's like that's where Johnny Cash is from.
Yeah, it's not credited to Johnny Cash though.
I'm wondering if it wasn't directly covered.
Yeah.
And it was just like inspired. I'm trying to find the Johnny Cash Christmas record that's on. Family Christmas one.
Yeah, the only one I can find is the Oak Ridge Boys. Is there, when you search specifically for Johnny Cash, do you get one?
Christmas as I Knew It. Roy cut down a pickapples tree and we drug it home, Jack and me. Daddy killed a squirrel and Luis made the bread.
Is this not cleared?
And Mama said, well, I bet they don't even have a coal, oil, or beans to boil, let alone apples and oranges and such. Yeah, so, yeah. Christmas came and Christmas went. Yeah, they just directly covered Christmas as I Knew It by Johnny Cash and then didn't credit it because they were like, we don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, we don't want to pay for a Johnny Cash song on our one-off Christmas album.
Call it something else.
Call it something else. We'll get away with it. So unless someone at the plant figures it out, then we should get away with it. Though it was always funny to me whenever our buddy who runs Bitter Melody Records, he would send records off that had samples in them. And it was always a gamble because it was always like, it's either going to get flagged or it's going to fly through and no one's going to notice. And a lot of times some narc working at the plant, like doing tape duplication, was like, this is a movie sample in it. Did you get clearance from it? And so they would always have to like cut it out or find somebody else to do the tape for him. So yeah, that's probably what it was. Oh, because Asian Man used to use that one plant when they were called the Bruce Lee Band, and that guy from the plant like called Mike Park and said, you can't call it this. The Bruce Lee family is going to come after you. So so maybe he's using the same plant and he's just like, sliding things through. But yeah, that's what that still feels like to me. They just didn't want, because they credit the traditional on there. They don't credit the Johnny Cash part. So yeah, they're probably just trying to sneak that through.
Angels we have heard around, sweetly singing all the place. Hear the mountains in reply, echoing that sweet refrain. Lord, oh, 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 in a chance to stay, Lord, oh, 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 in a chance to stay, yo.
But so it's like one cover and basically 3 traditionals. Everything else is an original Dan Potthast song. He wrote the rest of these songs, and they're pretty good. Like, listening to this record, you don't get a ton of like Christmas energy from the album. There's not a lot of jingle bells on it. It doesn't sound like a lot of Christmas records. The songs that you hear that are like, well, that's Christmassy, it's just because it's a Christmas song, because it's an old Christmas song. All the originals on here are just like, these could have been on any MU330 record. And if you didn't realize that it was like directly referencing Christmas, you probably wouldn't have ever, noticed it.
Yeah, it's impressive. I think it's a genuinely good record. I think the songs are good. I think that he did a good job of writing new original Christmas songs. Dan Potthast probably just loves Christmas then. I wonder if that's the case. If he's just like a real Christmassy guy, and he's like, I'm going to do a Christmas record. And because he's just like into it, he does a good job.
Like thinking about his energy and the type of music that he's put out, like his solo records, the MU330 records, I don't get the feeling that he's a Halloween guy. He's not Kepi. Kepi's the Halloween guy. Dan might just be a Christmas guy. I mean, we know those people. There's people who like Christmas more than Halloween. In punk music, it tends to be most people like Halloween more than Christmas, but maybe that's it. Dan's just a big old Christmas guy. And that's why he wrote an album's worth of Christmas songs and a song called Xmas Cards on Crab Brain Goon. And he did a really good job with the originals. Oh, let's
and what's funny is he doesn't, it's also funny, he doesn't force it into a gimmicky, it's not produced like a Christmas record.
No, not at all.
He doesn't sound like he doesn't try to make it sound like the Beach Boys Christmas record, or he doesn't try to make it sound like the Phil Spector Christmas Gift, record. Like, he doesn't try to make it be the kind of like Christmas record that you think of when you think of a Christmas record. It really is just a bunch of MU330 songs that are about Christmas.
Yeah, okay, let's look at some of these songs. So Everyday Christmas is the first song. Excellent song. But I'm looking kind of at the lyrics, and besides saying it's like every day is Christmas, it's like, I think I could tell you, I think I gotta tell you, you've set up permanent camp in my brain. She's holding out for someone, but she's holding on to someone. I don't know. Dan's a very repetitive lyricist, so I don't know why it's like it's everyday Christmas. I spend time thinking about your hair, the way you brush it away from your eyes. So the song is not actually about Christmas. It's just that when he thinks about her, it makes him think of Christmas, I guess is the idea. Or it feels like Christmas. Yeah, so it is just a MU330 song.
Yeah. It just references Christmas, so you can't play it any other time of the year.
Yeah. I Heard the Bells is an original, or is it a classic? December. So this song actually wound up appearing on the Asian Man Records Christmas comp, and they put this on there. Let's see. And it's called December. I don't think it's even like a particularly Christmassy lyrics either. Let's see. Yeah, it's a breakup song. It's I Want You Back is the chorus on that one. And money's been spent on empty apartments. Wind seeps through the cracks. It crawls down the walls. It creeps up my back. Ever since you, in September, decided this isn't transposed very well. Ever since you in October, like November. Yeah. So this song is not really about Christmas. It's just set in December. Okay. I Got This Neighbor. That's a Christmas song. I Got This Neighbor is a song about Dan's weird neighbor. His weird neighbor is Santa Claus.
Yeah.
That's like the most Christmassy of the original lyrics, you know. It's funny, you know. It's kind of fast-paced, upstrokes, enjoyable song. What's the deal with This Year More Than Ever? That one, it's more about like being in the snow. We were sledding till we couldn't sled no more. It was so cold outside. We threw our clothes on the floor. It seemed like forever. You laughed when I kissed your runny nose. We made some hot chocolate. I forgot all about it. Yeah, it's another kind of like love song, being stuck in, you know, with your partner when it's cold out. So not a particularly Christmassy lyric. The Ghost of Christmas, that one might be a pretty on the nose Christmas song. It's like but they played it like a super fast hardcore punk song too. So it doesn't even have like a Christmassy feel to it. She gets so depressed around Christmas, late December. It's time to remember all the people who've left her. She's more in tune with Halloween. Oh, that kind of fits what I was saying. Do you know what I mean? Because all the ghosts, they all fake, and Ghosts of Christmas too. So take Christmas dinner, we say grace. We hold our hands, stare at our plates. So that's about, you know, people who died. And then 3 Days Till Christmas. I really like that song. That one's very, very Christmassy. Yeah, it's mentioning like reindeer and elves and snow and wrapping paper, and then Christmas Merry Christmas is just, yeah, it's just Christmas Merry Christmas, Christmas Merry Christmas, Christmas Merry Christmas to you, ho 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 ho, just kind of like a standard. It's Christmas. Is this the one with Mike Park rapping? Yeah, so this one has Mike Park rapping in it. Yeah, so I mean, some very on the nose Christmassy songs, some it's just around Christmas. It mentions Christmas, but it's about other things, which a lot of Christmas songs are. But yeah, I mean, that's probably the key to making a good Christmas album, is making a good album first and writing good songs first.
Well, they could have just done covers.
They could have.
And they probably could have just done a good job of doing covers.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have worked.
It's funny because it's one of those records where I was like, oh, it's a Christmas album. I don't want to listen to that. But you could just listen to this record in June. And maybe Hark the Herald Angels might be the one where you're like, I'm going to skip that one. I'm not feeling like that one. Or Jerry's Down Home Christmas, you know, barely a song. But those would be the ones to skip. But the rest of the tracks, I don't know. Besides Christmas Merry Christmas, December is great. December feels like it could have been on the self-titled the same year, you know. Even that song, Xmas Cards on Crab Rangoon, is like not that Christmassy of a song. Just mentions Christmas cards. I guess we're like Never Sent, I think is what that one's about. Yeah, so they just decided to make a cool, good record that has like a light Christmas theme throughout and the album art.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about the thought process that went into it, and like where did the idea come from. And I
found
Dan
nothing like that.
Just sit and write a bunch of Christmas songs? Was he just like doing this for a while and then was finally like, okay, I have enough Christmas songs. Let's do a couple covers and we'll do a Christmas record. Did he like decide to write a Christmas record and sit down and do it? Like, I don't know. I would love to know what the thought process was and what the like inspiration for doing it was, because I think they did a really good job of writing new Christmas songs. And I mean, I guess like none of them are like quite good enough for them to become like standards or anything like that. But I think also maybe it's just that they lack like a really Christmassy production.
Yeah, they don't have that at all.
To give you that kind of, I don't know, to make them more adaptable. But
I found no information about this record. I found no interviews where they talked about it. I found reviews about the albums, but they're standard kind of reviews, and they're only from sites like Punk News. So it's just kind of like, I don't like Christmas, but I like this record. It's kind of like the theme of most of the reviews for this album. I found no stories about it anywhere. Like, I don't know the backstory that went into deciding to write and release a Christmas album the same year you released another record. So yeah, like maybe he was just like writing them up, saving them up to write them. If there's anything that feels like he wrote in studio, is probably Christmas Merry Christmas. That feels like, oh yeah, we wrote that in like 5 minutes in the studio, and then we had Mike Park come rap in the song. Like that one felt like a rush job. And even like some of the traditionals feel like, and we just did a couple traditionals to pad out the album because it's 23 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's a short record. It's 10 songs, but not very long. So yeah, maybe he just accidentally wrote a bunch of songs about Christmas. Like December could be on any record. Like that one does not feel like even specifically Christmas. But like The Ghost of Christmas, I could see him just accidentally have written that song. Like he maybe inspired by some like real life relationship where somebody he was dating who like at Christmas time only thought about the people, who are gone. So it kind of has this image. It's like, well, I have this Christmas song, but I don't know where to put it, So I don't know. I could find nothing. Like I found posts like when they did the vinyl reissue talking about this is the first time it's been on vinyl. They were supposed to get it out in time for Christmas, but the plant took too long, so it didn't actually ship until after Christmas. But like none of those posts talk about the record or what went into the thought process. So the only thing I could think of is that if there were interviews about that kind of thing, it was in like a zine or a magazine that no one has scanned and put online, or they didn't interview them for like a website or anything like that. Yeah, I found nothing about this record Googling and searching. Could just be Google's broken and I just can't find shit anymore. Or those blogs that maybe used to host it. Yeah, could be dead internet theory. But yeah, I really, short of literally reaching out to Dan, which I could, I guess, theoretically. I'm Facebook friends with him. Yeah, I would love to know the story behind this record. Or even maybe ask if Mike Park would respond. He responds to the emails. I think yeah. Anyway, you're saying
it's just a good record. I mean, it's short, and that helps it a lot. And it's not an investment. It doesn't require a huge buy-in. I think you can get through it pretty quickly, and nothing outstays its welcome. But again, like, not that there was really much pressure. Like it didn't. And I guess the bar is low enough for a Christmas punk record. That's something. That is something to be said. The bar for Christmas punk records, there's very few full albums of just like one artist doing Christmas. Most people just do a song and they throw it on a comp. So our bar is a Bad Religion Christmas record, a Vandals Christmas record,
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Does Rate Your Music let you, it has to feature both? Will it do that?
I guess there's the Reliant K Christmas record we'll have to do on the show at some point if we can find it.
Yeah. Okay, you can double up. You can make it has to have Christmas and punk in it. So yeah, we got what? The August Burns Red Christmas record. Isn't that like instrumental too? Vandals. Chris Farron has one. Newfound Glory has one. Mojo Nixon's Horny Holidays. Bowling for Soup's Merry Flippin' Christmas Volume 1. Yeah, the bar is low for punks doing Christmas records.
Brian Fallon has like a solo acoustic Christmas record.
Yeah.
It's not even strictly Christmas songs because he's got Amazing Grace on there.
And there's like Dolly Rot, Fiddler's Green. Yeah, it's not like, you're right. There's not a lot. This is kind of up there as far as the albums,
So if you do something like Remotely Competent, you have a Christmas hit on your hands. But I guess nobody really wants to do it. It just, I don't know. People just aren't into doing it. I guess it just feels like a cash grab, or
it does, right?
Phoned in for most people.
The Bad Religion one works because I think we read some interviews or at least like reviews talking about it. And Greg, despite being an atheist, really enjoys traditional Christmas carols. I think that's why they want to do the record. He's just a big fan of carols. The Vandals one, I've never listened to it. I don't like the Vandals, so I've never wanted to listen to a Christmas Vandals record. We should probably do that one year.
Yeah, it's probably the one we should do next year.
Is it a joke record though? Like it
seems
feels
like it.
Like it's Christmas with the Vandals, Oi to the World. What are the songs? A Gun for Christmas, Grandpa's Last Christmas, Thanks for Nothing, Oi to the World, Nothing's Gonna Ruin My Holiday, Christmas Time for My Penis. Jesus Christ. That's
Sounds great.
My First Xmas as a Woman. Also, it's probably transphobic or something too. Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. That's just a cover. Hang Myself from the Tree. So it's a joke record, which, yeah, that's the Vandals, right? Like, isn't that all their songs are just stupid joke songs?
The album after it is Hitler Bad, Vandals Good.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be one of their best records. I think they're most famous for that album and the Christmas record. Like, I don't think anyone gives a shit about any of their other albums, except for that one that was like the Variety album cover, the font that they stole and they got sued for. They have one called Shingo Japanese Remix Album. Cool. Yeah. Fear of a Punk Planet. Yeah, nobody cares about any other Vandals records. God, I might have to sample some of those songs before we choose to do it next year. Or we tear it apart next year. Who knows? Yeah, you're right. The comps, there are some good comps. That's probably the best other stuff. There's probably more good Christmas punk comps than there are Christmas punk albums. There's just not a lot out there. So you're right. The bar is really low. And then you just happen to write a good, competent record. It will become one of the better ones, you know.
Because if you rank this, you know, if you rank this record against other MU330 records, it's on par with Press.
I think it's better than Press. I'm not a big fan of Press, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of Chumps on Parade either. I think the songs are good. It's the vocalist I don't really like on Chumps on Parade. I forget that guy's name, but that record, that was a long record. It's like 50 minutes too. It's got Wide Awake on it, but that's like one of the only few songs, like Short Long's Gone. Like, I don't like that. Or La. Ugh, La sucks. I don't like that one. Yeah, honestly, I might like the Christmas album more than I like Chumps on Parade.
Yeah, I think there's so much more good stuff on Chumps on Parade than that.
If we just do Dan only record, like, you know, Dan's the only singer, yeah, it's the last, my lowest rated. But
I know. I'd say it's about on par with Press. I don't dislike Press the way that you do.
I don't like
I think
that guy.
It's a fine record. It's just not Dan. So yeah, it's like the expectations are.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Who's Your Love rules.
Off, but
don't like Digits. I don't like Fleaba. That's a gross song. Yeah. I'd have to listen to Chumps on Parade again to see where it fits. But according to Rate Your Music, this has a 3.08. Press has a 3.02. Chumps has a 3.27, but Crab Rangoon has a 3.22. That's not right. It even says Self-Titled has a 3.23. Man. And Ultra Panic is a 3.36. How is Crab Rangoon the lowest? That's not even like what the fans think. Crab Rangoon is like the fan favorite album. Weird. But yeah.
Well, let's Rate Your Music. What do you get?
Yeah, true.
What do you expect?
So the only other thing I wanted to ask is, what do you think of the production styles of Matt Allison and Robert Barry? So I don't know if you need the who did what. So Matt Allison.
I didn't feel like there was a substantial difference in the production style.
You didn't think so? I felt like you could tell very easily that they were two different sessions, and it would go from like song to song. You'd be like, oh, okay, that's a different session. Like it. There's a point in this record where it feels pretty abrupt. Matt Allison did Everyday Christmas, December, I Got This Neighbor, and This Year More Than Ever, and The Ghost of Christmas, which is a majority of the originals. And in fact, he does none of the covers. And so Robert Barry does I Heard the Bells, Angels We Have Heard on High. 3 Days Till Christmas is the only original that Robert Barry does. No. He does Christmas, Merry Christmas too. And then Jerry's Down Home Christmas. So I don't know. I listened to the record and I was like, whoa, that's a change. I did notice the production on this. I guess I can't say that one is better than the other.
I think both are inconsistent.
Even think from their own sessions, they're inconsistent?
Yeah, I think so. Just skimming them, I was like, listening to different ones that you said were produced by the same person. I'm like, well, these were clearly recorded on different days with different mic setups and mixed differently. Like, yeah, there's such an inconsistency between every song in the production that I guess I didn't really like.
Yeah. I felt like Matt's productions.
That's the one consistent thing about it, is that it's not the same from song to song.
I think I felt like Matt's productions were a little drier, maybe. Like, I felt like there was more low end on the Robert Barry ones, especially the way the horns are recorded. I think Robert was better at recording horns, which made sense because he recorded way more ska bands. Matt was recording like Alkaline Trio. And I can hear a little bit of that, like late 90s Alkaline Trio production on some of the songs that he did, and it's the other guy doing the more ska records. I could see that's why the horns might sound better on his songs. But yeah, I guess it's not. You're right. There is an inconsistency from like track to track within each session too. So that's funny too. Which that might be where it's just something fun to do. You know, it's a little silly to do a Christmas record like this. Record a Christmas record like this in 2 different studios. See, that's why I want to know more about this story. Like, why'd you choose to do a Christmas record? Why'd you choose to use 2 different engineers at 2 different studios? One in Chicago, one in LA. Or maybe not LA, but California. Yeah. I do want to know a little more about this. It could just be, the answer might be as simple as, oh, we thought it was a fun idea. And we didn't have enough money to do like a really long session with one producer, so we split it up. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we get a response. But I don't know. I think it's a pretty good record. I think it's a really good Christmas album, especially for punk music. And it's one I go to.
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't think the production really does anything for the record. I don't think either producer really does anything substantial for the songs. I don't think they're recorded in I don't think anything on the record is recorded or produced in like immaculate detail. Like there's very little in the way of overdubs. I'm sure most of the songs were recorded live. They sound like it. You know, just like overdub the vocals, maybe punch in.
But even then, they may not even done that, you know, just because
something else. But, you know, it all around, it feels loose and kind of raw and off the cuff. So but it still works too. I don't know. What exactly? I think it's just the strength of the songs is what carries it ultimately.
Yeah. And there isn't anything on here that I'm just like, ugh, that sucks. Or I don't like that. Even the one where I'm like, this had the least amount of effort went into it, the Christmas Merry Christmas, I still enjoy it because it's fun and silly and Mike Park raps. Out of curiosity, I did listen to the self-titled record as well because it was released the same year and they used Robert Barry. They definitely put way more effort into that album because that album sounds really good front to back and it's much more consistent sounding. So it's definitely, you know, a little bit more intended, you know, to sound good. Let's rate it and get out of here. What are you giving it?
3.5. You know, I think it's pretty good. I think I'll probably listen to it in full maybe every year, maybe every other year. You know.
Yeah, it's tough because I guess rating it, you got to rate it. I'm gonna give it 2 ratings. As an album that you would listen to at any time, 3.5. As a Christmas album, 5 stars.
I guess I wouldn't even go that far as a Christmas album.
Yeah, I don't know. I agreed on a curve with that one because there's, you know, you're not really rating it against many other records that fit this mold. All right, well, I think that will do it for us. So thank you all so much for listening. Next week there will not be a new episode. It will be Christmas, so we're not going to post anything. But come back the week after where we will do our best of 2024 audio. And you can follow us on all forms of social media at punklautopod, punklautopod@gmail.com, and our voicemail line, 202-688-PUNK. So if you want to get your voicemail played on the show about your favorite albums of 2024, give us a call and leave us a message, and we'll play it on the show. So thank you all so much, and we will talk to you next time.